Hey, have you ever come to a crossroads where you're trying to start a business or you want to start your 9 to 5 in a different industry and you're just not sure what's the right decision for you? Well, the next few videos that we do are addressing those very issues. I mean, sometimes you're just not sure, and there's nothing wrong with being unsure, but the answers are always somewhere. So if you've ever been stuck when, you think it's really critical that you decide where you're going and how you're going to get there, the next series of videos will definitely be for you. I've been there and I understand. So I look forward to getting your feedback. So, as you just heard, if you're the type of person that gets stuck and you're trying to figure out how to get beyond the minutia or the mental fog or the in your mind grand uncertainty, I believe this video is for you, is because there are things that we think about, but we don't have the deeper details, and yet we still get stuck. And to a degree, it makes sense because when you don't know, you don't know. But many times we don't take it a step further. We're trying to figure out, trying to understand, why we're stuck and learn how to get unstuck. So for the next few videos that we share, we're going to share things that relate to how people get stuck, how they don't move forward, how they don't progress simply because, their thinking is what their thinking is. And unfortunately, that's the thing that stops or prevents them from growing, stops or prevent them from taking advantage of opportunities, and hence the purpose for today's discussion. Um, I would also say that many of you may not be subscribers. So if you watch my content, you've liked the content, please do me a huge favor. It helps the channel, helps us develop and build more subscribers that like this type of content. Please, by all means, like, subscribe, and share. So today I want to talk to you about self-discipline and consistency, because I truly believe that is one of the number one things that helps us clear the fog. When you're not sure, you're just not sure. But in order to clear the fog, you're going to have to go a step further. You're going to have to push yourself. You're going to have to learn some of the nuances, and it may not be as deep as you might imagine. So, for example, yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult when you don't know how to move forward. But a lot of times the difficulty comes because there's noise. And I'm talking about internet noise, social media noise. I'm talking about actual noise, music. I'm talking about the television. I'm talking about life, going and coming. I mean, sometimes many of these things, because you have to pay attention to some of these things, but these things are distractions, although they may be necessary in certain scenarios. But because they still are a distraction, it prevents you from really honing in on a clear and concise decision, or honing in and clearly understanding what your options are so that you can move forward, making a better decision with maybe a new understanding. We'd be surprised how valuable it is to be still. And when you're still and when you're quiet, the value is that you have clarity of thought. You may have ideas coming to you that normally may not have come to you. And this is how you grow. Because if for the first time you see the sign on a bus or signage, possibly even on the internet, let's say, and you were to say to yourself, you kind of put your hands together like this, you cross your arms, and you say to yourself, what does that mean? Why did I see that message right now? You may discover there's a deeper purpose in that message that you may have seen on the internet or that you may have seen on the side of a bus, simply because you're in a perplexing scenario. You're trying to figure out something that's going to help propel you forward. And before seeing that sign, you had no clue and no idea. And you see, that is part of the noise that sometimes distracts us and prevents us from going the extra mile or having the opportunity of diving deeper into our thoughts for a deeper and more meaningful understanding. And if you can grab hold of that, I truly believe, because I know it's happened for me, if you can grab hold of that, you will understand how important and how necessary it is to avoid the noise, and how important it is to embrace the quiet. And you don't have to be quiet forever, of course, but to have 15 minutes here, 30 minutes there, maybe an hour sometimes of quiet times is critical. Now, when you're driving, you have to be safe, so you have to be aware of your surroundings. So that's not necessarily the best time to sort of check out and go into this deep mental dive. But while we're driving, do you have the radio on? When we're going here and there, do thoughts come to you? But just as quickly as they come to you, they exit. Well, maybe you should pull off to the side of the road, take notes at that moment if you can. Or if you do have your phone and an idea comes to you, are you able to safely pull up your voice memo and speak that into the recorder on your phone so that you can go back to it later? You see, the noise and sometimes even the voice in our heads is a distraction, because sometimes the fear factor, the voice in your head is trying to protect you, literally. And I didn't understand this for a long time, because there is a fear factor, fear of the unknown. And when we're not certain about certain things or particular things, again, we don't take action.
Hey folks, Sir Charles Carey here. You know, most people that are watching this content may not even be subscribers. Do me a huge favor and subscribe to our channel, share it and like it. You know, all the things that most people are asking you to do. Now, if you really like what you're getting here, please go to our website. The link will be in the description so that we can give you something free. No obligation. It'll either be the 3 peak tips or a structured breakdown so that you can take advantage of it. And again, there's no obligation. As we continue to build a channel, look for new subscribers, and look for the opportunity to pour into other people. We know there is massive value. I've been doing this for quite some time, and all I really want to do in my life is more of the same. Pour into others the way others have poured into me. I work with many people. I've studied from many of the greats, and now it's your turn to get the same opportunity. Thanks a lot. See you. Back to the conversation.
And as the saying goes, a confused mind says no. No is the equivalent of not doing, not moving forward, not making a decision. And that, my friends, is critical. So, as it relates to self discipline and consistency, one of the first things you need to understand is how to avoid the noise, because the noise is a difficult space or presence that does not allow you to make a concrete decision. Now, learning is another key. This is the second key. There's only going to be three things I want to talk to you about. Um, the first one is the difficulty, right? The second one is what we're speaking about now, learning. In order for you to become um, self disciplined, in order for you to become consistent, there's something that needs to really hold your attention. And part of the learning process is that very thing. So you pick it, whatever the topic may be. If you're stuck at choosing, should I, go for a new industry, tech industry? Should I go for an administrative job? Should I work in the government? Whatever it may be. If you are really trying to level up, you should learn as much as you possibly can about that thing. If it's a job, you need to learn about the job, the pros, the cons. Obviously, that's the good and the bad. If it's a entrepreneurial endeavor, what do you know about it? Have you done any research? Have you done any YouTube tutorials or looked at any YouTube tutorials to learn how it works? Do you hear about it on the news? You see, In journalism, for example, before a report is put out, at least it used to work this way. Before a report is put out or written up and goes out to the general public, you have a resource and you do what's called cross referencing. And you may have two or three, if not more, checkpoints or cross references to decide whether what you're doing, or before you put that report out, whether it makes sense. Does it check out with, this is just an example, does it check out with Google? Does it check out in previous reports? Does it check out with what the news is talking about? Do you know any people personally that have gone through a particular thing? The point is, multiple points of reference or multiple reference points is what helps you verify if the information is accurate. So when I say learn, whatever you're stuck on, you should learn about that particular thing. Learn about it in real time, learn about it online, learn about it through people that are actually doing it. Do the research so that you have a better idea on how that plays a part in your life. Is it something you can do? Is it something you still are interested in doing? If you go for it, if you decide to move in the direction of that particular thing, how will it pan out for you? Now, of course, you can't predict the future, but you might get a better idea if it's something that you're really still vested in. Do you want to give your time in? Is it something that relates to an actual financial investment? Do you have the funds, and does it make sense for you to consider that? So, do learn as much as you can about each and everything when you're uncertain, when you're stuck. As they say in other arenas, do your due diligence, because when you do your due diligence, you're actively involved in something. You're engaged, you're learning, you're figuring out the ins and outs, and that prevents you from being still. You see, as long as you're moving forward, as a friend of mine said recently, what happens to water if it sits still? It gets stale, right? It's no longer good. But when you have a stream, a river, the water is good. It's oxygenated. It doesn't get stale. It doesn't have maybe as much parasites or concern for parasites because it's a live flow, a live stream moving. There are living bodies in the water. But when water is sitting still, just like your thought process, when your thoughts are still, things die away, things diminish, the interest fades away. The With water, it might even evaporate. In other words, it will no longer be water after a while. It may literally evaporate into the air, and so do your thoughts and your ideas. So, again, we're talking about self discipline and consistency. So, if you're learning about whatever it is that has you stuck, and if you're realizing about the difficulty of why you're in that place, these are two things, just two so far, that will help you move forward. And it's always good when you know someone that has your best interest in mind that can help you through this process. And hopefully, the person or the people that you are around, they too are also the type of people that are forward moving and forward acting people. And the number three thing, because again, I believe that simplicity and transparency is really important. But then the third thing, commit. Now, when you commit to something, especially if it's more important than you as an individual, for instance, saving a kid, right? You see a kid in the street, sure, you can stand by because it may not be your kid. But if the kid's in the street and the car is coming, again, you can mind your business, or you can call out to the kid, hey, kid, get out the street. Or you can maybe walk over, run over to the kid, push them out the way, or pick them up, right? But when you commit to something that's more important than you, then a lot of times what happens is not only does your interest move forward and it's more concerning, more giving, more understanding, but you see a bigger purpose. And purpose is really important in all of our lives, even though we all may not look at purpose in the same way that I'm describing it. But when you commit to something, just like when you're learning about something, you're not just sitting there. You're becoming more in touch with this thing. Now, you still may not have made a decision on how to act on it, but you realize you're learning about it, you're moving through the process, you're understanding better the ins and outs of a thing. And now, the consistency factor, the self-discipline factor, it seems to be something maybe of a greater importance versus not knowing what to do when you were unsure, because you're actively taking steps, you're actively involved in moving forward by learning, by committing, by looking at, why am I stuck in this particular area? Why am I stuck as it relates to this topic or this widget, this thing? Think about people that buy things and they don't use them, and they bought it because everyone said that it was good or that it was the latest or the best, and they wanted to be a part of that, but it's still in the box. And before you know it, there's a new version coming out, but the one they bought, it's still in the box. So you didn't learn about it, you didn't commit on knowing how to use it, and it's just sitting there, and it wound up being a waste. But when you understand, even though it may be difficult, let me explore this. Let me learn. Let me say, well, not just say to myself, let me take the actual steps to use it. If it's a phone, right? Whatever it is, let me take the actual active steps to trying to understand how it works. You have a different appreciation. And now that you're using this new widget, whatever it may be, or now that you understand what this industry can do for you or how you can excel within this industry, you're no longer stuck. You can make decisions based on what you've learned, how it can be a benefit to you, how it can be a benefit to others, and then now you're ready to pull the trigger on your choice, your decision. And I think this is really important for a lot of us, and understand that you're not the only one that may feel stuck at times. You're not the only one that may not be consistent. You're not the only one that understands that, you know, you can now this is kind of crazy. I'm gonna say it anyway, because I know I've done it. You're not the only one that will go online for one purpose, and within nanoseconds or minutes you forgot why you went on the internet, because you're looking at things that have nothing to do with the original reason you were on the internet. And it doesn't matter whether it's a laptop, it doesn't matter whether it's a desktop, it doesn't matter whether it's your actual phone. A lot of us are lacking discipline, and a lot of us are lacking consistency. So, I would love to hear your thoughts, get your feedback, but I can tell you, I do have coming up a webinar on I think, what is it, on the 20th. It's coming up very soon, and we may do a series of these webinars on how you can get out your own way and move forward in the area that's most important to you, and maybe that serves you best at the same time. So I only have time to work with a few people. I would highly recommend respond to me in the video you're seeing below, or if you're seeing this on social media, DM me directly, and I would love to get the information to you so that you can be a part of that experience. There's nothing like helping people find out or discover where they want to be, and most importantly, where they need to be. And if that's you, and this video has helped you, by all means, I'd love to get your feedback. And if it's not for you, share it with someone that really can understand and appreciate some of the nuances that I've shared today. There were only three, but again, simplicity is always best. That's my thinking. Radiate the brain and change the game. I'll talk to you soon.